Hello and welcome back to the show. So I'm really excited for my guest today, Cory Williams. So to tell you guys a little bit about Cory, he is a Denver-based real estate broker and a realtor coach as well, who is focused on helping other real estate agents break into the luxury industry, as well as building a strong network of clients and vendors so that real estate agents can actually go out there and build a referral based and sustainable business. So that sounds really interesting. I think a lot of agents will be very interested in this episode. But Cory, man, I appreciate you being here on the show with us, and I'm really excited to dive in with you. But just want to say welcome and thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to delivering some value today. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that's kind of the core of who you are, is delivering value, not just to your clients, but also to your clients as far as agents who work with you on the coaching side as well. So before we dig into kind of our conversation for today, would you mind just maybe sharing a little bit more about who you are, a little bit about your background, and how you came to be the person you are here today?
yeah, absolutely. So, small town boy from Greencastle, Indiana, and came out to Colorado my freshman year of college. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to live here. So I just had a dream to be in the mountains and to live this lifestyle and to be able to hike and bike and get away from the humidity and the bugs and all those things. So back in 2001, I made the move out here after I graduated, and I worked my way through, all kinds of different sales positions and things of that nature, and then into the construction industry. And I just had a lot of experiences in that industry where I worked with a lot of egos, and I had worked with a lot of people that I just felt like weren't serving their clients the best possible way that they could. And I had very little control over that. I had risen to the ranks in almost all of those companies. However, at the end of the day, I was kind of faced with a dilemma. I kind of said, "Hey, what's next for me? This season's been great. I've learned a lot, and kudos to those guys. However, I'm like, what's next for me and my family?" And so I found a lot of these guides along the way, and they just weren't taking me down the road that I wanted to go. Hey, we want you to take over our company, and it's like, no, that's not right for me. So I had a moment where I said, "What do I know the most about?" Well, I'd been remodeling houses, popping tops, and doing fix and flips, and I was remodeling kitchens and bathrooms, and I knew everything there was to know about doors and floors and roofs and gutters and foundations and drainage systems and what kind of countertops, and how do you care for them and all these different things. And I said, that's it. I know the most about houses. Why don't I sell those? And so that started me on my journey. And, have you ever seen the movie Karate Kid?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody needs a guide. You've got to have your Mr. Miyagi, or you're going to keep getting beat up by all the kids, and you're not going to get the girl, and you're not going to accomplish your goals. And so I found a series of Mr. Miyagi's in this business, and it started out with Michael Beninati, who really showed me how to kind of cut my teeth in the industry and build relationships. And I had been the chief relationship builder in every company that I was a part of. So now it was a new way, and this is my favorite S word, to serve people. And so I said, okay, how can I serve these same people that I've been serving in the construction industry in a new and powerful way? And real estate was the answer. So I navigated through that process, and hopped around a few different brokerages, and I just felt like I kind of hit the ceiling. Um, at a lot of these places. Okay, like I was blessed enough, hey, you're the top agent. And it's like, okay, how do I grow? How do I, break free and put myself in a great position to support my family? And as you mentioned earlier, really achieve a lot of the goals that I have for myself in terms of paying it forward and coaching agents and giving back in that way. And um, so just continue to navigate the space. And now I'm one of the founding partners at Blue Pebble Homes, and we're an integrated brokerage. And I believe it's the best combination of win, win, win. The agent wins, the consumer wins, and ultimately our industry wins because of the model that we built here. So really, it's a testament to the journey that I've been on, the different seasons that I've been through, the different Miyagis that have partnered up with me alongside the way, and I've learned a lot. And I've got myself now in a position where, navigating all of the exciting things that are happening in our industry on a daily basis. And, there's certainly not a shortage of excitement, that's for sure, and new opportunities to learn and new opportunities to educate our clients and make our industry better for everybody that's involved with it or a part of it. So that should give you a pretty good little timeline of events for the bearded guy. We were doing a fix and flip on a remodel during COVID, and my wife said, "Why don't you just let it grow out?" Well, here we are. Ho ho ho! A Santa Claus later. Um, so that's me in a nutshell, my friend.
That's awesome, man. So you always come from, kind of a mindset and an attitude of serving others. You mentioned that was actually one of your favorite words was, how can I go out there and how can I serve the community that I am part of? How can I serve my clients, right? Regardless if they're buyer or seller clients for you as an agent, or if there are other agents in the industry that you can serve now as a coach, sharing the experience that you've had, right? Not just in construction, but also, of course, as a real estate agent as well. So you have quite a unique, approach to, I think the coaching industry, which is taking, this almost client-based approach and then applying it to helping other agents as well. But I want to kind of go back a little bit on, what you talked about as far as getting started as an agent, right? So
Mm.
you already had more, I would say probably more experience than most newer agents starting out in the industry when you first started as a real estate agent because you've been part of this industry. What was it that you kind of accredited to, in the beginning, the amount of success that you were able to build? Was it that background that you had, or did you kind of have to come into this industry and almost relearn or unlearn some certain things as an agent that maybe you weren't prepared for beforehand?
Great question. And honestly, this is a pro tip for those agents out there that are starting in the business. It is all about the relationship. And so, did I have to unlearn anything? Not a single thing. It was the most logical transition. Now, did people come to me because of my specific knowledge about homes? They told me they did. They called me and said, we know the numbers, right? Everybody knows a dozen agents. And
Yep.
so we know that there is not a shortage of people to choose from. And so we have to be able to stand out. So people would say, "Hey, we know that you know a lot about houses. We're going to work with you." The truth is that that is a byproduct of the relationships that I had built. And the key to all great relationships is making sure that it's a win-win. And how do you do that? Well, you start by investing in that relationship. And so I had made a lot of deposits in a lot of bank accounts. And that's not only the people that called me, the clients, the friends, the family, the people that I knew, that maybe were a designer or in that industry that then came to me and said, "Hey, can you help me in real estate?" It was also the resources that I built. I call it the A team, right? The short list of contractors and resources for my clients. Because after all, a real estate transaction is a series of problems that have to be solved. And that is really at the root of where we're at. And so the best real estate professionals are number one, incredible problem solvers. And number two, really great emotion managers. And so I had learned the skill set of problem solving in construction. And I had honed in on the skill set of relationship building and emotion managing because we were tearing people's kitchen out and rebuilding it, which is the heart of the home. And so there were so many parallels and so many similarities to both the industries. So it was a perfect segment for me to just jump right in. And I would even still go to networking, construction networking. They're like, "What's it like to be out of the industry?" And it's like, I'm not. I'm still here. I'm just serving people in a new and powerful way, and really a powerful way without limitations. When I worked for someone else, and let me make myself clear, I definitely work for the division of real estate. That's really my only boss. Well, aside from my wife. Um, However, I play by the rules, and so playing by those rules. However, other than that, I get to serve people the way I want to serve them, the way I know they should be served. And so that transition was critical. So if there's anybody out there listening to this and they say, "Okay, I'm in an industry, I've built a lot of relationships. I'm just not sure like if it's going to translate or if it's going to transition," reach out to me. We'll talk at the end how you can find me. Instagram, Corey the Guide is my little you can see on the Zoom here. But all of that to say, feel free to reach out to me. One of my areas of expertise is helping people what I call a transition plan. There's a lot of agents out there that do business plans, and those are great, but that transition plan is really important. When, how do I time it right? How do I get it right? That's one of my areas of expertise, and I've helped a lot of people. I've guided a lot of people through that process, and so love to give back in any way possible. So it's a great question, and at the root of the answer is just so important to pour into those relationships, and that's really what makes life worth living, and it will be the secret to success in this life and in this business for sure.
Yeah, I'd have to absolutely agree on that part of it because you've seen people come in from different industries and they were able to be successful in real estate as an agent right off the bat, and those are the people that you can tell they're really good at the two things that you brought up, which is managing emotions, which is kind of an overlooked aspect of being a great real estate agent. Is you're almost playing therapist. You all the time from some of the great agents that are out there, but also being a great problem solver, right? And helping, like you mentioned, guide the client through that process of a real estate transaction. Because as we know, there is certain aspects of a real estate transaction that an agent is familiar with, but with each specific transaction and each specific client, there's going to be some things that are different, right? There's going to be new problems that arise. There's going to be problems that arise that, you even as an agent who's been in the industry for a few years is quite unique, right? That you haven't seen before. So being able to take that approach, I think, is very important. And that kind of leads me to my next question, which is somebody who is very relationship focused, somebody who is pouring and investing into the community around them and the clients that you're serving. How are you able to basically give people that personal level of service, right? Where you're serving them and you're giving them your full attention, but also be able to manage multiple transactions at a time and still kind of have a sustainable system in place so that you're not overwhelmed, you're not forgetting about or letting people fall through the cracks, which is, for a lot of people who are very good at, managing a few relationships, that could be a problem that can arise if they have 5, 10, 20 clients at a time.
Yeah. The key is systems and processes. And if we are going to serve our clients at a high level and make myself very clear, like my goal is just to serve the hell out of my clients. I mean, I want to roll out the red carpet. And how do you do that? Well, one person might just say, well, you just kind of like, you got to custom design it every single time for the client. No, that's not how you do it. You have to have systems and processes that are repeatable and scalable and that are intently focused on being very intentional about serving people. And you have to be willing to change them when they don't work. And so it's this constant process of improving and tweaking and changing. I think it was Taichi Ono in the Toyota manufacturing process that sort of perfected this kind of concept of, making sure that you're constantly improving. And if there's something that's going wrong along the entire process from A to Z, you got to get it fixed and you got to change it now, not tomorrow, not we'll get to that. Like it's in, you know, like in action, you're taking care of it. And so that's been really a focus of mine is to make sure that number one, I've got buttoned up systems and processes. And number two, that I'm willing to delegate because there are certain parts of the transaction where I am a critical piece to that. And I can do it better than anybody else on my team. There's also parts of the transaction where my team member is better at a certain aspect of it than I am. And so you have to really look in the mirror and say, hey, where is my client going to get served to the maximum ability? And where are they going to have the highest level of service? And how are they going to have the greatest experience possible by possibly engaging with different parts of my team throughout the course of the process? So that is the way that you're able to keep consistency in the client experience and be able to scale. In other words, take on more uh, people, be able to help more people, and just constantly being improving on the effectiveness of the journey that they have. And so I spent a good part of my career just figuring that out and realizing since my business wasn't like, hey, Corey, we're interviewing 13 agents. I hope you make it. It was more like, hey, Susan told us you're the best. Like, how do we get started? And so I, uh, just by nature of the way that my business ran, I wasn't necessarily always on the interviewing chopping block. It was more of people that just said, hey, like, help us get started here. We heard you're the best, and we want to work with you. And so you have to fight the resistance or fight the urge to just be like, hey, we'll just do it custom every time, and really step into that role of, thank you for honoring me in that way. And this is exactly the first step. And here's 1 through 75. And I don't give you 76 until we're through at least about 45, because I've found that clients get pretty overwhelmed when we put too much on their plate. So trust me here. Let me be that guide that's going to get you to your goal and your finish line. Um, trust me as we take steps throughout the process. So, systems and processes and effective and efficient and intentional delegation is the answer to your question.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you mentioned that as well because I do think there's a few agents out there who mistake the idea of building strong relationships with the idea of making a custom offer every time they work with a client, right? And that could be very time consuming. It could actually, I think, probably derail your abilities as an agent if you're trying to custom make this plan every single time you work with somebody different. And something else you brought up, which I think is really important too, is you're not giving the client every single step of the process right from the beginning. And I feel like for a lot of agents, that's one of the mistakes that they make is they try to give all of that information all at once and just information dump and information dump and information dump until there's no more information left to give. And that overwhelms the client. It makes the agent look very knowledgeable, but they're not necessarily putting the client first, which is sometimes is really necessary to maybe withhold some information, not to be dishonest, but just to make sure that we get to point A first before we even start thinking about or discussing the options for point B, much less the end of the transaction, point Z, which I feel like some agents actually start with that, right, in their very first meeting with the client.
Yeah. Pro tip here for the audience, listen to what you just pointed out. I mean, the information dump is going to be the death of you. That is not what it's about. You should be asking way more questions than you are giving information. Be curious and really make sure that you know I was joking with somebody the other day. I'm like, you're the questionator. I coined myself as the solutionator, and I'm like, you're the questionator. You have all the great questions, and so be the questionator, and then be the solutionator, because you're never going to know the problem if you don't know the right questions to ask, to have an opportunity to even be able to solve the problem if you don't know what it is. So thanks for pointing that out, and that's an astute observation. And I think that we get in these areas where we think, oh, I've got to have this presentation. I remember the first luxury listing, you mentioned this a little bit, that I went on, and I was like, oh man, should I have this brochure, or should I have it on an iPad, or should I print this out, or and I remember my guide, my mentor was like, hey, just take it easy, man. We're going to go in there and have a conversation with them, right? And yes, we need to take them through the process and walk them through exactly what the next steps are and things of that nature. However, we need to go in there and do fact finding first. And so it's just so important in order to be able to craft a solution that we ask the right questions and then guide them along. I love the Build Your Story brand by Donald Miller. I think it's the best marketing book ever written, and that's for especially real estate for me, but just any business owner that might be listening to this podcast. Go out and buy Build a Story brand by Donald Miller. It's a very simple and profound process. And every movie that's ever been written follows it. You have a character over here that has a problem, and they meet a guide, Mr. Miyagi, who provides a plan and then calls them to action. And then they achieve success and avoid failure, just like Danielson. And we have so much ego in our industry, and it's agents want to information dump. Look how many deals I did last year, and I did this much in production, and I'm at the top of my brokerage. And hey, guys, that's great. Okay. I'm not taking any of those accolades away or the accomplishments that our fellow brokers are making in this industry. It's really a tough industry. Being an entrepreneur is not easy, and so I commend them for that. However, I would also, in the same breath, encourage them to think about telling a story in a character that has a problem that finds the guide. You're the guide. So many agents in our industry want to be the hero, and that is not the path to success. Our clients are the hero. They're the ones that come to us with a problem, and it's on us to guide them through that plan and call them to action and make sure that they avoid failure and achieve success. And so I really challenge anybody out there that's listening to this to really look at the way that you're presenting yourself to your clients. Really take a look at the ways in which you're promoting yourself on social media, and take a step back, check out Build Your Story brand, or just look at the path that I just shared and really say, hey, am I trying to be the hero here? Or am I really positioning myself as a guide and telling stories about how I make people the hero of their own story? That's where we win, and that's what's going to help uh, people find success personally, professionally, and industry wide. Is for us all to take a step back and just really let people put themselves in a story and say, you know what, I bet Corey could be my guide to be successful. And so, just something that I've learned over the course of a decade in this industry, and something that I think a lot of brokers should step back and take a strong consideration with as they forge forward and have great intentions and want to serve people in a powerful way. It's a great approach and a awesome formula to follow moving forward.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think there's that's so perfectly well said that there's too many agents out there who think that they should be the hero of the story when in reality they need to be the guide, right? They need to be the mentor to the hero who's actually the client. So it's a great mindset shift to be able to actually position yourself that way when you're focusing your attention on the client instead of making it all about yourself as well. So that's
Mm,
such a good, if you take away anything from this podcast, I think that is probably the one very simple point, but a very important point that can really make a huge difference in your business and how you market yourself, like you mentioned on social media, the brand, the messaging that you're positioning. It's
mhm,
all very important as well. So in talking a little bit more now, I think about your approach to coaching and can probably, just based on your approach to clients, see how you would approach coaching other agents, other brokers as well. But I would love to maybe have you share a little bit about your coaching philosophy as well as your coaching style. So, what type of agents are you coaching all agents at this point, or are you being maybe a little bit more selective? What is your coaching philosophy and your coaching program currently look like for agents who may be interested in learning a little bit more, maybe having you be their Mr. Miyagi, be their guide?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Um, I'm very selective. I have really helped people along that journey that I told you about and being their guide and helping them accomplish their goals. And I got to be honest with you, I'm in a season right now where I'm really doubling down and focusing on what's important to me and my family. And my mission is very clear moving forward. And so I talked a little bit about the delegation strategies that if you're going to grow and scale and, I don't know, eventually exit this business, um, most people at least should be considering that at some point. Whatever that looks like for me, I want to give more of my time outside of this industry to people. And so I'm being very specific about how I build moving forward. And so I'm looking for two very specific people. Number one, someone that wants to uh, be a delegation partner for me, that wants to um, serve some of my buyers and eventually my sellers. I'm in a under my so I have a one, two, three, four. Think about a quadrant. Right down the middle is buyer and seller, and right across the other middle point is your average home sale. And so, number one is my under my average price point um, buyers, and so that's the first place I'm going to delegate are those folks. And then, secondly, would be my over my average buyers, and then under average listings and over average listings. So that's how I'm looking. So I'm looking for people that want to learn my systems and processes and run the play for our shared clients. So that's number one. And then number two, I'm looking for agents like me that have been in the industry for some time. They've seen success and and they want more. They want more. Um, I'll be really specific here spiritually. I believe that when you tap into the spirituality and align yourself with your creator, that is the key first step to any transformation that you want to have in your business. Because I bet I'm not the only agent out there that says, you know what, some things sure seem like they changed over the course of the past couple of years in our industry. And so, how can I get to a point where I can really find maximum fulfillment out of this career in this industry? So I'm looking for people that want to build beside me, that want to have a clear mission and vision, and that say, you know what, a lot of the things that I did kind of the first part of my career, I feel like I need to kind of change some things up and I really need to get consistent. And I really feel like maybe I wasn't serving my clients the best I could have. And I want to really knock it out of the park for my clients moving forward. Those are the people that I'm looking for. And specifically, I talked about, integrating principles of the Bible into the way that people build their real estate businesses. And I coach entrepreneurs in a lot of different industries as well. And so, really looking for people that want to improve their relationship with their creator and uh, and double down on the spirituality, and then things start happening that are incredible. in your business. Yes, I can show you how to put the X's and the O's in the right places. However, we've got to get, your mind, body, and soul working together first. So that's really, who I'm looking for are people that really want to take a holistic approach to making sure that they're building something that's sustainable and fulfilling, and wants to work on their relationship at home and their relationship with their family, and really take that approach and watch what happens to your business when you do that first, and then you put the X's and the O's in the right places and run the plays. The results are, remarkably different. So, does that give you a pretty good idea of who I'm looking for?
Yeah. I love how specific you are as well with who you're looking for and how you think you can serve them as well. Because there's too many people out there. And it goes back to, I think, doesn't matter what business you're in, but especially as an agent, you try to cast this super wide net and try to work with everybody, and then you end up working with nobody because you're stuck in that position where, it's almost like the perfect client for you, who's somebody who has success traditionally in the business, but has no fulfillment whatsoever, especially spiritually when it comes to their
Yes.
day-to-day life, and they're just burning out. And it's really sad to see sometimes as well.
Yeah. I mean, you just used a phrase that is really sad, burnout. And I've seen it personally myself many times over the course of a decade. And so, one of the things that I am intently focused on is showing people a different way. And it's not always the right way for everyone, and that's okay. However, you're right. I have been all things to all agents before, and it didn't end well. So I'm grateful that my ultimate guide is God, and He has shown me, hey, there is a better way. And when you build with me, it's sustainable, and you're not going to crash and burn. So I'm inviting people to come along this journey with me because I'm having a whole heck of a lot of fun doing it, and I've learned some incredible principles along the way to ensure that you can be an amazing human in this world. Oh, and serve people at a high level in our industry as well.
Yep. Absolutely. Very well said, Corey. And I just want to say thank you for taking some time out of your schedule and being on the show today to share your story, share your background, as well as the value that you bring to your clients, as well as other real estate agents that you work with, other entrepreneurs that you work with as well. So, for those who are out there who are listening to this or watching this that feel like they are the perfect client for you, that feel like they're the perfect person to work with you and to really have you be their guide, what are some of the best ways for people to reach out directly to you and to just maybe connect with you and learn a little bit more about what are the next steps to move forward?
Yeah, thank you. Corey the Guide on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. That's kind of my main platform. You can probably tell by the amount of white in my beard, like that's where a lot of my audience is. And so you can DM me on either of those platforms. I'm at coreyandcompany.com. And so, yeah, if you want to have a conversation, if you've got questions, comments, concerns about anything we covered today, feel free to reach out. I wake up to serve, and I live to inspire truly. So, love this industry. I know truly that our clients need an expert guide that can help them along the way. And so, I find it a very honorable journey to serve people in that way. So feel free to reach out. Thank you for having me on the show today. Thank you for your insightful comments and questions. I enjoyed the conversation thoroughly. So appreciate you too, my friend.
Absolutely. And we'll make sure to leave the links to your Instagram and your Facebook account in the description, the show notes down below. Definitely encourage you guys to reach out directly to Cory if you guys feel like he can be the best guide for you. But other than that, man, I appreciate you for being here. And before I let you go, is there any last piece of advice, any last tips you would like to leave with the audience here today?
Great question. I wasn't prepared for this. Go, go get the book. Go buy the book by Donald Miller. And a second book recommendation, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Couple great books. Knowledge is power. So check those out. And other than that, until next time, so long for now, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Cory. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next show. Take care.